Hello everyone. This video presents a notable event that happened on each day from the past week in history. On May 25th, 2001, American mountain climber, adventurer, author, and speaker Eric Weihenmayer became the first blind person to reach the top of Mount Everest in Nepal. A year later, he added to his collection of fantastic feats by becoming the 150th person to scale each of the 7 summits, the tallest mountain on each of the continents. Weihenmayer suffered from a degenerative eye disease as a child, resulting in his vision loss by his teen years. A high school wrestler, he also began rock climbing, graduated from Boston College, and became a teacher while also coaching middle school wrestling. At the age of 27, he scaled Mount Denali and went on to climbing greatness with his later ascents. Not content with mountain glory, he also took up kayaking, writing, motivational speaking, and creation of the Adventure Team Challenge for athletes without regard to disabilities. Have you ever accomplished a fantastic feat? On May 26, 2002, Interstate Highway I-40 in Oklahoma was the scene of a disaster when barges towed on the Arkansas River struck a support pier on a bridge, collapsing part of the bridge with 8 passenger cars and 3 semi-trucks falling into the water. The captain of the towboat pulling the barges had suffered a fainting spell, leading to the accident in which 14 people died and another 11 were injured. Other major interstate highway disasters include a church bus on I-71 in Kentucky being struck head-on by a drunk driver in 1988, killing 27 of the 67 people on the bus, 24 of them children. A dust storm was the culprit in 1991 on I-5 in California, causing a 104-vehicle wreck, killing 17 and injuring 150. In 2002, on I-710 in California, dense fog resulted in a 216-vehicle pileup, the biggest in U.S. history. On May 27, 1975, a bus carrying 45 elderly women crashed in North Yorkshire, England at Dibbles Bridge, resulting in the driver and 32 passengers killed and the other 13 occupants injured. The accident was the worst motor vehicle accident in British history by number of fatalities. The bus, called a coach in England, was a 1967 Bedford VAM5 taking the ladies on a day trip. The driver was a substitute, and apparently the recently changed brakes had an issue that resulted in the bus being unable to slow down going downhill, causing the vehicle to speed down a hill unchecked, crashing through a steel barrier and stone wall at the bottom, flipping upside down, and falling 17 feet. The fiberglass roof and aluminum sides of the bus were unable to support the weight of the coach, which crumbled and crushed, smashing many of the occupants. The coach company was fined the equivalent of about $1,000. On May 28, 2016, animal lovers were subjected to the horror of a zoo worker from the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden shooting a beloved adult male gorilla named Harambe to death. A 3-year-old boy had climbed into the gorilla exhibit and was scooped up by the big ape, causing fear that the boy would be harmed. The mother of the subject child was at the zoo with perhaps 4 children and lost track of the boy who climbed into the gorilla exhibit. Her inattention led numerous people to accuse her of causing the 17-year-old, 450-pound gorilla to be killed unnecessarily. Others defended the woman, and she was not charged. The horrible incident spurred renewed debate over the ethics of keeping animals in zoos, unnatural environments without the normal room for them to wander as nature dictates. Others claim the educational value of zoos trumps the horror of captivity for the animals. What do you think? Should zoos be allowed to exist? Please let us know in the comments for this video. On May 29, 1945, the consolidated B-32 Dominator, an American heavy bomber, made its first combat flight. First flown in 1942 and on active duty in January of 1945, the B-32 was an alternative to the Boeing B-29 Superfortress in case the B-29 did not work. A development based on the B-24 Liberator, the B-32 used the same engines as the B-29 and had retractable gun turrets bristling with 10 50 caliber machine guns for defense. Only 118 B-32s were built, and they were retired from active duty by August 30, 1945, proving unneeded. Other American aircraft developed and fielded for World War II, but never making a major impact, ending up largely forgotten, include the Bell P-63 King Cobra, the Martin AM Mauler, and the Douglas B-18 Bolo. What is your favorite forgotten airplane? On May 30th, 1972, a British far-left terrorist group went on trial for conducting 25 bombings over the previous 2 years. The Soi-disant Angry Brigade saw 8 of their members tried for the bombings, but only 4 of them were convicted. In any case, the trial was the end of the cleverly named group. Targets of the Angry Brigade included banks, embassies, conservative politicians, and even a beauty contest. Luckily, no one was killed in the bombings, although 1 person was injured. At least 2 people were the subject of assassination attempts by the terrorists. When a key member was arrested and tried in 1971, a British judge said the other members of the group were more like the Slightly Cross Brigade. A major cause of the anger of this brigade was the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War, a common complaint of the political left at the time. What terror group has the most descriptive name? Please let us know in the comments for this video. On May 31st, 2003, Air France retired their Concorde supersonic jet airliners after a career that started in 1976. Air France had a fleet of 7 of the fast jets, while British Airways also fielded a fleet of 7. An additional 6 of the so-called SSTs were made for non-commercial users. The first supersonic airliner, the Concorde was costly to operate and to fly on. The only competition ever created was the Russian Tu-144, jokingly called the Concordski. The Russian version of the supersonic airliner lasted from 1975 to 1978, although cargo versions remained in service longer. Only 16 Tu-144s were built. Other epic efforts to create the ultimate airliner include the giant Zeppelins, gas-filled airships such as the infamous Hindenburg that were slow but fell out of favor with highly publicized disasters. Did you ever fly on a Concorde? As a question for my students and subscribers, which event from this past week in history would you most like to learn more about? Please let me know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video and would like to receive notification of new videos, please feel welcome to subscribe to History and Headlines and become one of our patrons. Your viewership is much appreciated. For image, audio, and other credits and attributions for components of the individual videos in this compilation, please see the descriptions of their respective videos, which are linked to in this video's description.